Hello everyone, I'm Mark Hiller. The United States is welcoming Pope Francis here on a journey of family, faith, and the future. From the moment he was chosen to lead the Catholic Church 2.5 years ago, many have asked, who is this man? An associate professor of theology at the University of Scranton gives us some insight about the former cardinal from Argentina and his special connection to the U. For the first time in church history, a sitting pope resigned in 2013, setting the stage for another first that resonated with the University of Scranton.
When the white smoke appeared and everybody was on edge, one of the students announced it's a Jesuit.
The private Catholic and Jesuit university took special pride that behind the symbolic white smoke at the Vatican indicating a new pope was elected, it marked the first time a Jesuit was chosen to lead the church. But University of Scranton Associate Professor of Theology Patrick Clark says the campus still had one big question. Who was this man?
Nobody of us had heard of Cardinal Jorge Mario Bergoglio at that point, very much anyway.
Dr. Clark says the first clue about Cardinal Bergoglio came from the name Francis, which the priest of more than 4 decades selected to use as pope.
He chose the name in honor of St. Francis of Assisi, who was a champion of the poor, who's also a reformer who worked for and with the church, and who was also somebody very close to nature.
Dr. Clark says Pope Francis soon revealed what topics would shape his leadership.
Shortly after, he started enunciating the main themes of his papacy, which were mercy, joy, and encounter. He's been sort of hitting these notes throughout his papacy.
Dr. Clark has observed how the 78-year-old Pope has broken protocol with many of his predecessors to remain true to his agenda.
The Pope has said early on that the church should be out among the people. It should go out of itself. When it keeps to itself, it becomes sick. It becomes self-referential.
During his papacy, Pope Francis has weighed in on such concerns as sex abuse, human trafficking, and terrorism.
He takes evil very seriously. I think he sees a lot of these developments in the world today through spiritual lens. And so the solution, I think, has to have some sort of spiritual element for him.
In his 2.5 years as pontiff, Pope Francis has proven immensely popular. He has millions of Twitter followers, gaining a deep interest from more than just his spiritual flock.
Non-Catholic or even non-Christian world sees the Pope as a constant presence who is trying to uphold perennial values, human rights, a belief system and a worldview that is consistent but also is able to adapt to and speak to the developments around the world.
For his first visit to the United States, Pope Francis chose to attend the World Meeting of Families in Philadelphia.
The Pope is coming to support it, not as an expert, not as even sort of an honorary guest or presider, but as a father.
Dr. Clark is interested in how the Pope will experience America and vice versa.
I don't think he's going to go easy on America when he comes here.
He believes Pope Francis will take aim on what he considers a throwaway culture in a capitalist society overwhelmed by its affluence and its access to information.
Perhaps if he's able to succeed with connecting to people on a personal level, we'll reassess in America the things that keep us from having that sort of authentic personal encounter that he's been advocating for so long.
Many will feel a closer connection to Pope Francis thanks to his U.S. visit. But for one Argentinian couple, the connection began before he was appointed Pope. Nate Stewart has more.
He's known worldwide. Some say he's controversial, while others say he's an inspiration. But for Alejandro Cañadas and Cynthia Fraga, they know Pope Francis as Cardinal Bergoglio and knew him as their spiritual leader and cherished past experiences with him.
Pretty much attending Mass with him when he was not Pope Francis, yet he was Obispo Jorge Bergoglio or Cardenal Jorge Bergoglio.
Born and raised in Argentina, Alejandro knew Cardinal Bergoglio when he became auxiliary bishop from Buenos Aires, and Cardinal Bergoglio's family lived just 5 blocks from his father's house in Flores.
My dad grew up in that neighborhood, and he knew Cardinal Bergoglio's family when they were growing up and playing at that time in the 30s and 40s in Buenos Aires.
Alejandro recalls a church dedicated to St. Joseph in Flores. When Cardinal Bergoglio became the auxiliary bishop, the cardinal would celebrate Mass at this church, and Alejandro and his family would go see him.
It's like knowing your priest or the priest that is coming to your parish and seeing him in many masses and celebrations.
He also remembers working with his wife doing missionary work in the slums of Flores. He says Cardinal Bergoglio appreciated the work they were doing, and he would even visit them.
Sometimes he missed the metro, and maybe he was a few minutes late because he didn't want to use the official car to come to this very poor area.
In 1993, Cynthia attended her first Sent Forth Mass, which was held before missionary trips. Each person was given a cross that was blessed by the priest.
And I just remember walking towards the altar with thousands of other missionaries just line up waiting for Jorge Bergoglio to put it around your neck. And, you know, just treasuring that.
Both Cynthia and Alejandro agree that Cardinal Bergoglio had an unforgettable impact on their lives, and when he was announced as Pope, it was a moment that they'll both never forget.
And right away, I listened to his name and I couldn't believe it. It was like, they mentioned Cardinal Bergoglio. And I remember that I started crying because I couldn't believe it. It was amazing.
We grabbed the Argentine flag and we went outside and actually did a loop with the car with the Argentine flag and blowing the horn, and all my neighbors were like, what's going on? It's Habemos Papa, and you know, we were all like crying, and the kids too.
Tears of joy for the man they remember before he was named Pope Francis.
We will take a look at the state of the Catholic Church, the Pope's effort to restore the faith, and travel to Philadelphia, the site of the World Meeting of Families.